Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Mayo Clinic webinar for our Community Wellness Challenge. My name is Heather Tietz, and I am the Community Relations Officer, and I am here to introduce our speaker. But before I do that, just really quickly, thanks to all of you that tuned in last week to listen to Dr. Hardesty talk about resiliency. Next week, we will have Elena Osborne, who is our worksite wellness coordinator, speaking on happiness and recognition, and I think we could all use a little of that right now. And then our last Tuesday presentation is going to be Chef Tony doing a live cooking demonstration, so I'm super excited about that one and hope you guys are too. But without further ado, thanks for participating in the Community Wellness Challenge. I hope everything is going great for you guys. Reach out to your local contact if you have any questions on that, but scores should be in this week if you're part of the team atmosphere in one of the sites. Otherwise, I would like to introduce Allie Wergin. She is our clinical dietitian here at Mayo Clinic Health System, and today she's going to talk about tips for a delicious and healthy smoothie. Allie.
Perfect. Thank you, Heather. Thanks for everyone to join today. So really what we're going to talk about is getting smart about smoothies. And the reason is since really Thursday's Wellness Challenge is to try a new smoothie recipe, thought it would really be timely to review some of the health benefits of smoothies, some of the common mistakes when making smoothies, and then tips for a healthier smoothie. So benefits of smoothies. So really the great thing about smoothies is they have the opportunity to be nutrient packed, and they can really help to boost the fruit and vegetable intake. So, we hear time and time again the importance of fruits and vegetables for our health. That eating a diet rich in fruits and vegetables as part of an overall healthy diet can really reduce a risk of many chronic conditions. Unfortunately, when we look at the research and the studies, we find that only 1 in 10 adults meet the federal fruit and vegetable recommendations of 1.5 to 2 cups of fruit per day and 2 to 3 cups of vegetables per day. So, looking at the fact that people aren't getting the fruits and veggies that they need, looking at smoothies are really nutrient packed, we can see how smoothies can really be beneficial in trying to increase the fruits and vegetable intake. Another thing when we look at smoothies is they have a great chance to really help us also with really getting the fruits and vegetable intake. They can help to increase our fiber consumption. As really fruits and vegetables, and then some of those really additional common smoothie add-on ingredients like nuts and seeds, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, are also rich in dietary fiber. And so really looking at the fiber consumption for the average American really only eats about 16 grams of fiber per day, which is that is definitely short of the recommended fiber intake of 25 to 30 grams per day. So, when we look at fiber is really an important nutrient that can help in aiding the digestion by preventing constipation and supporting the growth of beneficial bacteria in our digestive tract. And really early research is suggesting that healthy gut bacteria can help to reduce inflammation, it can promote healthy immune function, and really even possibly support mental health. We also find that fiber intake is linked to a reduced risk of chronic illnesses like heart disease and type 2 diabetes. So obviously we see that fruit and vegetables and then all of a sudden going into fiber, we're not getting enough as Americans, and so smoothies can really help us increase that in our diet. Cool thing about smoothies is we can enjoy them as either like a fruit or either as a meal or a snack because they contain adequate sources of carbs, protein, fats, and dietary fiber. So the carbohydrates are going to give us that nice quick energy, whereas the protein, fats, and that fiber are going to give us some good staying power. Smoothies are versatile. We can keep it simple. We can do it a little bit more complex if we want to kind of follow get more ingredients in our smoothie. You can follow a recipe if you'd like. You could kind of just wing it with whatever's maybe around your house. Lots of different options. We look at the fact that there's a lot of different fruit options that we really can also incorporate in our smoothies. We really can't go wrong with it. So, one of the things that I feel like is kind of a classic in smoothie are bananas. And the great thing about bananas is that they can really add a creamy texture and a natural sweetness. But again, too, it's really kind of looking at what's around your house. We can do berries, we can do mangoes, we can do pineapple, kiwi, peaches, nectarines. You can pair different fruit combinations for different flavors. And then just really having fun with experimenting with these different types of recipes. I also put on here smoothie bowl. I'm not sure if people have heard of smoothie bowls, but they're kind of a different take on smoothies. So instead of maybe sipping your smoothie from a straw, you're going to be using a spoon to eat your smoothie bowl. It's just a little thicker. So you can also try that with your smoothies too. And lastly, some of those benefits of smoothies, they're easy. You just throw some things in a blender and you go, and you can go. You've got your meal right there. Now, we talked about lots of good things that smoothies, a lot of those benefits with smoothies, but there are some common mistakes that we see with smoothies. Most often it's where all of a sudden smoothies can go overboard on calories and sugar. So just kind of want to look at some of those common smoothie mistakes that can really make those smoothies less healthy, and then I'll offer some suggestions on how to correct. So honestly, I know this is kind of hard to see, but a common smoothie mistake that we can actually see is adding too much fruit. It's easy to toss in a handful of berries and any really leftover fruit that maybe you have around your house. All of a sudden, though, you're going over on that sugar, and there's not a ton of room for a lot of extras to kind of give the smoothie that staying power. So commonly what I say is try to limit the fruit to about 1.5 cups per serving of your smoothie. Looking at portion control, we see these big blenders. It's easy to, again, like I said, throw the ingredients in, and all of a sudden you have this huge glass huge smoothie that you're sipping on. All of a sudden there, we can get something that could have, anywhere from, I might be exaggerating, but not necessarily, anywhere from 500 to 700 calories in that smoothie if you really go overboard in some of the add-ons and that portion size. So kind of a rule of thumb is to, if all of a sudden you're having your smoothie for a snack, try to limit the portion to about 6 to 8 fluid ounces. And if it's for a meal, kind of keeping it around 10 to 12 fluid ounces. Overdoing the sugar, looking at the fact that really our smoothie is, we're already going to have a lot of sweetness from the fruit. So we don't necessarily need to be adding any added sugar, whether it comes in the form of table sugar, honey, maple syrup. Easy to all of a sudden, if we add too much of that, just making, again, something that should be healthy, maybe not necessarily the healthiest. So if, see if you can avoid adding that sugar to your smoothie, and all of a sudden if you find like, nope, I need a little extra sweetness, see if you can just get by with like a hint of sugar. I probably would recommend keeping it under, or just add about a tablespoon of any sweetener, just because of the added calories and then sugar that's going to be adding. Common smoothie mistake, forgetting those food groups. Again, I kind of talked about how smoothies, what we really want to see is we want to see a combination of those food groups, those macronutrients, the carbohydrates, protein, and the fat. And so kind of looking at your smoothie and see, hey, can I get at least 3 different food groups in my smoothie? Can I get some fruit? Can I get maybe some veggies in there? And then could I add maybe a little bit of like some seeds or some nut butter in there to get some protein, or even like some Greek yogurt to get some protein in there? So kind of mixing it up, because again, we just really want that smoothie to stick with you. We don't want you hungry about an hour after you have that smoothie. So that staying power of the protein and fat is really going to be beneficial from those additional food groups. This one is, storing too long. You you want to make sure, although it might seem convenient, you don't necessarily want to make a huge smoothie, keep it in the fridge, and then kind of go to that throughout maybe the week or for a couple days. And the reason is all of a sudden after we make that smoothie, the fruits and vegetables are going to start losing some of that nutritional value. So really you want to try to consume that smoothie fairly soon after you prepare to really maximize the nutrients in your smoothie. I totally understand wanting to try to find convenient ways to incorporate the breakfast, if it's a breakfast, if it's a snack, something like that. So one thing that I might recommend would be creating your own little smoothie packs. And so I'm not sure if people have really looked or have ever tried to make your own smoothie pack, but really what you can do is you can put the ingredients in like a Ziploc bag, put it in your freezer, so then when you're ready for your smoothie, all you do is grab that, maybe pair it with a little bit of your yogurt or maybe a little bit of liquid, throw it in the blender, and then you're good to go. So that's kind of a way you can make it a little bit more convenient rather than just making a big batch of it and kind of going throughout the week, because you will be losing that nutritional value that's associated with the fruits and those vegetables. So then going on how to blend the best smoothie. So really, again, fruit is kind of what we think of. It's kind of the primary ingredient when we think of smoothies. So I usually say start with 1 to 1.5 cup of fresh or frozen fruit. Oftentimes, I personally like to use frozen just because then I kind of can skip on adding the ice to it. And I also know that then I always have it around. Rather than kind of looking like, oh, are my strawberries still good, or how are my blueberries, something like that. Looking things like berries, bananas, mangoes, pineapple, peaches, all are good options for fruit to be going in there. I put this in here kind of in caps. Don't fear the banana. I think too often, I think there's a thing kind of social media kind of saying that bananas are not healthy for you, but that is definitely not the case. Bananas are really awesome in smoothies because not only do they add the right amount of sweetness, they add a smooth texture, and then we also have to look at kind of the nutritional benefits of bananas. They're rich in potassium, which is really an electrolyte that promotes healthy blood pressure and electrolyte balance. So don't fear the banana. They're a great addition to smoothies. One thing I might say is just be mindful of the portion size of the banana. Might be better to use either like a small banana or cut like a large one in half, and that's what you can be using in your smoothie. Leafy greens, that's kind of a fun thing that we've been adding to smoothies lately. And I think the biggest thing is, first of all, if you don't mind the green color, which I think sometimes it's kind of fun to have that green color, that green smoothie, great way to kind of mix up the smoothies. One thing I kind of also kind of say is that depending on the fruit that you're pairing with, it may not be green. If you're doing maybe more like berries or like especially like blueberries, you might all of a sudden come out with a brown type of smoothie. So just kind of beware. But leafy greens, adding them in your smoothie is a great way just to add more nutrients. In particular, you're going to be getting some good antioxidants and phytochemicals in there. If you're kind of a little bit nervous about adding the leafy greens to your vegetables, just keep in mind that the fruit is really going to, the fruit, because of the sweetness, the greens are almost virtually undetectable. Really, if just kind of starting out, spinach tends to have the most mild flavor. So might be something just to start out with that too. You want protein in your smoothie. I kind of talked about that earlier today. Protein's going to add that staying power. So really half to 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt is going to give you about 10 to 20 grams of protein. If you're not really one for yogurt or Greek yogurt, can always try cottage cheese, tofu, or legumes like chickpeas. Also can kind of look at protein powder. A couple cautions with protein powder is that you want to avoid those with any added sugar. Also kind of depending on if you're following any dietary restrictions, for example, maybe if you're avoiding dairy, keeping in mind that there are some protein powders out there that are going to be commonly made with whey. And so just kind of looking at what is a protein, what source is that protein from when you're looking for the protein powder. looking at plant-based fats. So we can add, this is another fun thing to be adding to smoothies. We can do nut butters. We can do seeds such as chia, hemp, or ground flax and avocados. These are great additions. They're going to be chia and ground flax in particular are rich in omega-3s. They contain dietary fiber, protein. One of the big things I like to point out, though, is that flax, you want to make sure that it's ground. You don't want to just be throwing the seeds in there, as we need the flax to be ground to be able to absorb the nutrients in there. Keeping in mind that, of course, that these additions can drive up the calories. So you want to limit to probably about a tablespoon of seeds or nut butters and about a fourth of an avocado. Liquid, we're going to be adding some liquid just to kind of, so you can really sip your smoothie through that straw. You can use a variety of options of liquid there. You can use milk, you can use a non-dairy milk, you can use like coconut water, you can use juice. I usually suggest avoiding it. I'd rather get a little bit of protein from that liquid that you're using and not having that added sugar in there. Most important thing, though, is to choose the unsweetened varieties. So you don't want like a non-dairy milk that might be like a vanilla flavored, because all of a sudden you're going to be having extra sugar in there too. Flavor boosters, we can add some fun powder. We can add a cacao powder, cinnamon, turmeric, ginger to add some additional nutrient benefits. And two, especially lastly, kind of ice, especially if you're using that fresh fruit over the frozen. I would suggest using some ice in there to make sure that it's at kind of that nice cool temp for you. Also kind of adding in here, we've got some smoothie recipes from Mayo Clinic. So you can see we've got a fruit smoothie recipe. We're looking at some berries, banana, orange in there. And some yogurt, a little bit of juice from lime or lemon. So that's a fun one that you can do. I'll go to the next one. We've got a green smoothie here. So you can see we're using some baby spinach in there, kind of coupled with the berries and even a little bit of an herb in there, some fresh mint, to just kind of give it kind of a fun little flavor there too. I've also included some recipes on the weekly tidbits. So if you're looking for a new smoothie recipe to be trying for Thursday's Wellness Challenge, definitely check that out. I want to thank you for your time and open it to questions at this point in time.
I forgot to prompt everybody to use the Q&A feature on Zoom. So if you guys do have any questions, drop them in there. But in the meantime, Allie, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I had to admit, Allie, that I used to put equal in my smoothies. I no longer do that.
Okay.
A recommendation.
Yep.
But I'll tell you, you said the greens, they'll change the flavor a lot. Is that what you said?
They don't really. You really won't notice it with the sweetness of the fruit.
Okay. Tell us more about, I'm not a very novice, or I'm a very novice, chia, flaxseed, all of those kind of things. I don't even know where to find it in the grocery store and what brands that I would want. Where's a good place to shop for those? Or where do I find them?
I feel like it can be different at different grocery stores. Often where I find it is kind of in the grain section. So almost if you're going to be looking for like wheat, like flour, cooking for flour, you can typically find it around that aisle. Again, grocery stores are different, but usually whether it be around that aisle or close by.
And how about nut butter? I've never
nut butter,
used that.
Where you can find the peanut, where you can find the peanut butter. Ooh.
Oh no, that's what you mean. I thought it was.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, so I mean, we have a variety of different. We just kind of say nut butters because you can do almond butter, you can do peanut butter, you can do like those are typically the most common nut butters that we'll find. Yeah.
Is there a better one that you would recommend for calorie wise?
Not necessarily calorie wise, because I think keeping in mind that all the nut butters are going to be a little bit higher in calories because they're fat. But what I really suggest when it comes to nut butters is looking for any extra sugar in there. Sometimes we find they add sugar to the nut butters. So you want to see if there's one that really doesn't have any of that added sugar in there.
Okay. We just got a comment from somebody that said Walmart has some great selections, as does Cub. So
perfect.
Thanks for sharing.
Of nut butters, is that what they're saying?
I think it might have been the chia flax.
Or the chia and flax, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for Allie today? Oops, hold on. There's some more coming in. Any tips on blending nut butters in? I always struggle to evenly blend it. That's a good one.
That is a good one. I would say it's kind of looking at mostly kind of the liquid that you're using, kind of make it a little bit more, that's a really good question.
Is it more of an almond milk instead of a thicker yogurt or something?
I think it's making sure that you have adequate amount of liquid in there. Try maybe even kind of blending it first with that liquid in there and then add the nut butter in there.
All right. Any more questions? Oh, there's more coming in. Hy-Vee Health Market, Rainbow Co-op, and Blue Earth, good sources for flax, chia, and nut butters.
Wonderful.
For those of you joining us from southern Minnesota, there's some options for you. You know, and that might be a good thing. Use the hashtag MCHS CWC where we're saving or sharing some of our photos. If you have some good recommendations or you guys come up with some good smoothie recipes or anything you want to share during this Community Wellness Challenge, please share it with that hashtag. Again, hashtag MCHSCWC. So with that, I want to be, oh, hold on. I think we got a couple more questions. I was just going to cut it up. Okay. Can you tell us, oh yeah, can you tell us more about using ground flaxseed and why?
So I'm not quite sure if the question is more so using just ground in general or the health benefits of flax. So I'll just kind of go on a couple of them. But so rather than just throwing the whole flaxseed in there, the flaxseed needs to be ground up so we can absorb those the nutrients in there, in particular the omega-3s and like the lignans, which are actually like the antioxidants that we find in the flaxseed. Otherwise, if we just have the whole flaxseed, really we're not getting the omega-3s from it. We're not getting some of those other like phytochemicals and antioxidants from there. We're really only getting the dietary fiber from that flaxseed. So I hope that answers that question. Oh yes, I see Fresh Thyme has a lot of options. I would agree with that too, yeah. That's the great thing is we have the option of going to a good variety of different grocery stores to kind of try different ingredients there too.
I liked in that recipe the idea of throwing in mint to add to the flavor, fresh mint.
The herbs in there. Unfortunately, I don't know if I can find any fresh mint in my garden right now. Everything.
Probably not. We will share those two recipes that Allie put on the screen when we send out the link to this recording tomorrow for you to share with teammates or others in the community that didn't get a chance to join us live today. So those recipes will be included with that recording link. So with that, being respectful of everybody's lunchtime, hold on. Just one more comment, it looks like. Great ideas for making more nutritious smoothies. Thanks for sharing. Hey, thanks, Shelley. Appreciate
Thank you.